Power Up with NSA North Texas, a show about finding, hearing, and maximizing valuable insights from some of the world's leading business and lifestyle speakers. Each week, international keynote speaker and National Speakers Association North Texas Chapter President Betty Coffey sits down with some of the most exciting speakers this side of the globe to hear from these subject matter experts what's making a difference in business today and learn all there is to know about people, profits, and productivity in business from some of the world's best motivators. This is Power Up with NSA North Texas. And now, here's your host, Betty Coffey.
Hi, I'm Betty Coffey. I'm your host today, and I'm the president of NSA, National Speakers Association, here in Dallas, Texas. NSA National Speakers Association is the premier organization for professional speakers. Our members reach audiences as thought leaders, authors, trainers, consultants, coaches, speakers, humorists, motivators every day. And this show is going to give you the opportunity to hear some of the cutting-edge topics, issues, messages that organizations want, and they want to hear it from NSA. And you're going to hear from our own subject matter experts, our own speakers. I'm very excited about our show today. Yoram Solomon is the founder of the Innovation Culture Institute of Dallas. He has published 8 books, has 22 patents, more than 200 articles, and was one of the creators of Wi-Fi and USB 3.0. He was named one of the top 40 innovation bloggers in 2015, 2016, and 2017, and was a columnist at Inc. magazine and Innovation Excellence. Yoram is an adjunct professor of entrepreneurship at SMU, UTD, and the Hadassah Academic College in Jerusalem. He was the host of the first TEDx Plano show in 2014 and was a speaker at the TEDx Oaklawn in 2018. Also, he was elected in 2015 to the Plano Independent School Board. Yoram brings his experience as a marksman shooter, has served in the IDF 35th Airborne Paratrooper Brigade, was a USAF CAP pilot, and in 2015, he founded the Innovation Culture Institute with the mission of helping companies build innovation, culture, and trust. So, our topic today is all about innovation, culture, and trust. It's been said, and I love this statement, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I know that, and I believe that the most important leadership function is to build the right culture in any organization. Dr. Yoram Solomon will share a powerful and scientific model for developing effective, productive, and innovative cultures in any organization. And he's going to share with us his formula. He's promised to share with us his formula to build trust in every team. So, Dr. Yoram Solomon, I'm thrilled to have you here today. You're going to be fun.
Thanks for having me, Betty.
Okay, so first question.
Excellent question.
Thank you. I bribed him to say that to every question I ask. Your books mention that you developed a formula for building trust. Can you tell us more about that formula?
Yes. Oh, you actually want me to tell you things?
Yeah.
Okay, so actually it did take about 10 years. What I found was that I started working with organizations on innovation, and then I found that, it's not enough to just brainstorm new ideas. You have to go back and have an innovation culture. You have to create an organization that has this mechanism that just generates idea after idea after idea. And I narrowed it down, and this is it started with my doctoral research 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And what I found was that there are several things that you need. As a leader, you need to be willing to give me autonomy.
It's
now,
true.
For you to give me autonomy, you need to trust me.
It's going to be so scary, Yoram.
Yes, I know. Yeah, especially if you want to give me autonomy. But if I'm your boss, you need to be willing to take risks. But for you to take risks, you need to trust me that that's not going to bite you.
That's true.
If we're working on the same team, you need to be willing to be vulnerable with me, which means you need to trust me. You need to be willing to give me direct feedback. If I ask stupid questions or I suggest stupid ideas, you need to be willing to give me direct feedback, and you need to be receptive to that kind of feedback from me, which once again requires trust. So everything requires trust. So I spent the last 10 years trying to understand how trust gets built. And I'm not going to share the entire formula, mathematical formula. It is a mathematical formula, I'm not kidding, but there are 6 elements there. And I'll just talk about the 6. 1, competence. You're not going to trust me if you don't think that I'm competent.
Absolutely.
2, shared values. You're not going to trust me if you don't feel that we share values. 3, fairness and symmetry. You come to work every morning at 6, you leave at 10 p.m., you work on weekends because we have this deadline. I show up at 9 and I go at 5, and I don't want to hear from you after 5, and I don't want to hear from you over the weekend. You're not going to trust me.
That's right.
So that's on the left side of the formula. On the right side, every interaction we have, including this one right now, there are 3 elements. The amount of time we spend together, the intimacy of this, and by intimacy, I'm not talking me too, intimacy as in how deep do you get into what I really feel? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do I only use words, or do we share a very intense
it's got to be a relationship. Yeah.
And the third one is the positivity. So at the end of this meeting, when you leave, what do you think about my participation in that meeting? Was it positive? Was it negative? So those are the 6 elements that make this formula. And on my website, you can find the formula, and in my books, the exact mathematical formula. Took 10 years to develop, but there is a formula. This is how you build trust.
That's so true. And it's fascinating because trust is underlining everything we do, both personally and professionally, all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, so I got a question. We agree that trust is very, very important. But sometimes, let's talk about how you can have people go outside the box, go outside their boundaries, and be innovative at the same time. So you're developing an innovation culture. How does that work?
Well, again, it comes back to the culture itself has 2 dimensions. It has a vertical dimension. It has horizontal dimension. Vertical is the relationship between a leader and a follower. Horizontal is the relationship between team members. You know, one day I was sitting in an Einstein Brothers, and I saw 2 Israelis starting to argue, and they were sitting by the window. And at some point, you know, they're starting to raise their voices, and they're getting to using their outside voices. Mm-hmm. And people started building this demilitarized zone around them and started going further away. But since I was the only other person in that restaurant who understands Hebrew, because I speak Hebrew, I knew that this kind of argument was a professional argument. It was a technical argument. This is the kind of argument where when they were done, they would go back and, you know, they're friends and they're going to grab a beer or something. By the way, I never had beer when I was in high school, or college, just so that you know, and I was never invited to parties. But that's besides the point.
Take note of that. We'll talk later.
So this is the ability to conduct constructive disagreement is key to building innovation culture and being innovative, because otherwise I'm not going to share with you everything. You're not going to share with me everything. And this whole combinational creativity that happens between our brains just doesn't happen.
You're not going to feel free to do that.
No.
You're going to be intimidated, and you're going to think, I don't want to hear it. And so I'm not going to go outside and tell you what I really think and what I can really do. And that's so true.
That's right.
That's very, very true. Okay, let's go on a different path here, because in your intro, which was very, very impressive, you served as a marksman in the Israeli Defense Forces. Okay. Now, how did that affect you and what you talk about today?
Well, that's a pretty insightful question. It did for several reasons. One of them is the preparation that it takes to take a 1,000-yard shot, for example. Mm-hmm. You know, people think that if you want to take a 1,000-yard shot, that it's just you have the right rifle, you have the right ammunition. I can give you one of my rifles. I can give you the right ammunition. I told you I have rifles. I can give you the right ammunition. Can you take a 1,000-yard shot? And one of the things that you're going to find out initially is you don't even know that if I'm trying to shoot you towards the west, by the time that bullet made the 1,000-yard trip towards you, the earth has already moved you closer to me, and my shot is going to be 8 inches too high, and I'm going to miss a headshot. And so understanding all those factors before you try and do something, that kind of, it's a discipline that I developed that helped me look at creativity and innovation in a different way. Look at it as a process. Look at it as a process that has a lot of factors. So this is kind of being a marksman plays into finding what does it take for people to be creative.
I've never thought of it that way. I mean, I've thought about innovation and creativity and what it takes, but that's a very, very different turn and twist to it. I like that.
And by the way, since you brought it up, I take great headshots, except my clients don't come back.
Oh, there you go.
And it's hard to tell them to just stand still.
Yoram does take great headshots. He's our NSA North Texas photographer for the entire chapter, so he does. But our members always come back. That's good.
Yes,
I'm happy about
because
that.
I'm taking those headshots with a camera.
There you go. We'll stick with that at our meetings. What is the value when a person says, I'm trustworthy? Okay. What is the value of trustworthiness? How can you put a dollar value on it? I know what I'm going to say, but I want to hear what you're going to say as far as the value of trustworthiness. What do you think?
It's a great question. So here's what I did. I did a survey, and I asked people, what is the one quality that you value in other people the most? And after I narrowed it down, I came up with a survey, and the survey had 6 types of people: your peer or colleague, your boss, your employee, a salesperson trying to sell you something,
so true,
a government representative, and your spouse. And I asked, what is the one quality out of 5 that you appreciate the most, or you care about the most? Is it willingness to work hard, willingness to take risk, trustworthiness, intelligence, or good looks? Hey, I can put good looks there. It's my survey. So I asked that, and I don't know if you're going to be surprised or not, but trustworthiness came as number 1. 60.7% of the responses said trustworthiness was number 1 across all 6. However, but salespeople came in the highest with 77%. Imagine, when I asked you the question, what do you value, what quality do you value in salesperson trying to sell you something, number 1 comes in as trustworthiness, 77% of the time. The other 4 qualities combined only give you 23%. So it's more than 3 times of the other 4 combined. And I decided to take another survey because my question was, let's see if you're going to put your money where your mouth is. So I asked this question. I gave a scenario. There's a project, a home renovation project, $10,000. You narrow down who is going to do the project. You know how fun those
right.
are.
Oh, yeah.
And you narrow it down to 2 companies. You invite both of them. I'm not going to go through the details, but one of the salespeople who comes across as very, very, very trustworthy. The other one that comes in as very opposite, not trustworthy whatsoever. And I asked, if both of them are asking exactly the same price, $10,000, which one would you go with?
I'd go with the one I trusted.
Okay, excellent.
That I liked, that I
what
felt
if the
good
trustworthy one is asking 10% more, 11,000 versus 10,000? Who are you going to go with?
I'd still pay that more. I'd still pay more.
100% of the participants actually still went with the trustworthy one. Then I asked 20%. I got 54% of the participants still going with trustworthy one. 50% higher price, and I still had 21% of the participants going with the trustworthy one. And 40.4% said, not sure, it's still going to be one of those 2, because the 4th option was none of them. So then I put this all into a formula, and I came up with a very powerful statement that would answer your question exactly. Is there value in trustworthiness? A trustworthy salesperson can sell the same product or service for 29.6% higher price.
And get the order.
So is there value in being trustworthiness?
Oh, yeah.
In being trustworthy?
Oh, yes. I can identify that just 2 weeks ago. It's starting to get colder here in Dallas. And so I had to have my heating and air conditioning upstairs and my heater downstairs checked. And a very well-known company came over, and there was something about the technician. There was something about him that I didn't trust him. And he wouldn't look me in the eye, and he just kind of blew around my questions, which I'm not the smartest person when it comes to heating and air conditioning at all. Kind of goes over my head. So I've got to have somebody, it's like a car mechanic. I got to be able to trust them. And he wanted to go for the kill and sell me about $2,000 worth of, equipment and improvements and everything else. And I said, I don't think so. I'll get back to you. And I got on the phone and I called somebody else, and they sent another person from another company over, and automatically, I liked that person. I believed in them. They took the time to show me what was wrong with my heating system. They took the time not to sell me a whole brand new system. And I believe them because I'm vulnerable there. I've got to trust that person. So you're right on. And did I pay more? Yeah, I ended up paying more at the end of the day. But do I feel better now? Oh, yeah. I'm I'm positive. I don't have to mess with it, and it's going to be taken care of.
Then the crossover point is 29.6%. That's what my research showed.
I don't think I paid 29.6%
You may not.
more, but you're right. I love that. I love that. Good point. Okay, so what got you, I want to switch here a little bit. What got you into the field of innovation culture? Innovation culture now.
So, I was always an innovator. You already read, whether it's the 8 books, the 22 patents that I filed, the more than 200 articles. I was always an innovator. And I started helping companies, or companies started inviting me to help them innovate. And what I thought was, I have those processes, whether it's design thinking or trees or any other process that I would use to ideate, to create new ideas. But then I read a piece of research that showed that for every one successful product or service launch in a market, and when I say successful, it's viable commercially. For every one success, there are 3,000 ideas. 3,000 ideas.
For everyone.
For every one success. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, I come in and I give you this workshop, and we come up with 12 to 16 ideas. That's a drop in the bucket.
Yes.
In the bucket, you need 3,000. And what I realized is I can do a much better job helping companies be innovative by helping them build a culture of innovation, as opposed to I'm going to help you find your next 12 to 16 ideas, because that's not enough. The company has to be innovative by culture.
And you train them. You keep training them to be innovative.
Exactly.
You're just not. We just made our objective. Now we can stop being innovative. You just got to keep it. You got to keep the momentum going.
That's right.
I love that. I love that. Okay, your research showed that companies lose their innovation culture as they grow, as they get better, as they get more successful. Huh? Why? Why does that happen?
Well, excellent question. So here's what happens. As the company grows, there are 4, in one of my books, in Culture Starts With You, Not Your Boss, I showed a model that it's like the 5 pieces of puzzle. And on this puzzle, you have on the left side, you have vertical relationships, leader, follower. On the right side, you have team. On the top, you have the positive factors. On the bottom, you have the negative factors. Well, in leadership perspective, you have autonomy. You need to be able to give me autonomy, and I need to be able to give you accountability and risk-taking.
Right.
The negative part of it is you give me bureaucracy and processes and policies, and what do I give you in return? CYA, and hopefully I don't need to spell this out. On the teamwork side, you have to have the ability to conduct constructive disagreement or constructive conflict. That's on the positive side. On the negative side is you have to is when you start engage in office politics, right? Backstabbing and things like that. Here's what happens as a company grows, and that's what I found in my original research. As company grows, if I gave you the autonomy when we started the company, when we had, just the 4 of us or the 7 of us, as we're starting to grow, this is getting out of hand. I can't just give everybody autonomy. I don't know who's going to abuse it and who's going to make good use of it. So I'm starting to scale back on autonomy. And at the same time, we need to start having policies in this company, right? And we need to have processes in this company. They have to be documented. And we start using policies as whips instead of using policy just to help you. That's on the leadership side. On the teamwork side, now all of a sudden, if we were all in the same boat, and we had the same goals, and our challenges were external, now our challenges are all of a sudden internal. Now all of a sudden, Betty, you and I one of us is up for a promotion, and so guess how cooperative it makes us in a meeting when I know that this is a zero-sum game. You get the promotion, I don't. I get the promotion, you don't. And so over time, what happened was companies started losing their autonomy or willingness to give autonomy while increasing bureaucracy. Teams started losing their ability to hold a constructive disagreement and started using more office politics. And those are exactly the factors that killed creativity in organizations.
Oh, and that is so important for leaders today to understand, because that our new workforce doesn't work well in that. It does not. The millennials and the new people coming into an organization, they don't work well when that happens.
They definitely don't work well when this happens. But the whole point is, how do you stop it from happening? And at the same time, if a company is already large and they already know that they lost that culture, how do you help them bring this back? because you're going to lose your employees, not just lose their creativity.
How do you do it?
Well, first of all, again, that goes back to you have innovation culture, but the first thing you have is trust. So I have this process, I have this 5I process that starts, and you know what? I only had to force one word to start with an I, to have 5 I's, so all the others just fell in place. You start with introspection. Let's start with assessing the level of trust that you have in the company. Let's assess the level of innovation culture.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Be ready to accept the results.
Second part is let's intervene. So this is intervention. We're starting to make changes. And we're not trying to create ideas. We're just trying to make changes, starting to make changes to the culture. Because only when we started building this innovation culture, and those first 2 I's are aimed at building an innovation culture, is when you start to ideate. So ideation is the 3rd stage. Now let's generate ideas. And the 4th stage is implementation. Now there is a mechanism, the right mechanism and the wrong mechanism to implement those ideas. And as a result, you get the 5 I's, the 5th I, and that's innovation.
I love that. Because you just went through the whole circle. As we get bigger, we lose some of these things. And that's when leadership says, what am I going to do? I mean, I'm happy with the growth and what's going on, but I'm losing some things here. You have just now come full circle.
That's right.
And we got to keep it going. Got to keep that going, right?
Yes. As soon as you're done with one round, you go into the second one.
So this is fascinating. And I really mean that because I think we're giving our listeners some answers today. They're identifying and they're getting ideas as far as how you can turn tough situations around. But I got a question for you.
Yes.
When I was looking through your bio, in 2015, you left a very high-paying executive position in a public technology company to start Innovation Culture Institute.
Yes.
Why were you so passionate about that to make that big change?
I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I don't think so.
Oh, now that you're asking the question, I'm starting to challenge. No, I'll tell you what happened. I turned 50. And, shoot, did I say this out loud?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, I turned 50 in 2015. And I started, there's this word that started buzzing in my head, and that's retirement. What am I going to do when I retire? So I'm not going to be sitting back in bed and watch TV all day.
I don't see you doing that.
Yeah, and I'm not just going to take a rifle and start shooting people off the street.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's my civil engagement. But anyway, so what do I do in retirement? And I thought, what are the things that I'm really, really passionate about? And I'm passionate about 3 things. Learning new things, whether it's reading or researching, and I love doing primary research. I like speaking, and I like writing. And I thought, wait, those are 3 things that you can actually make money off. And not only that, but why do I have to wait to this arbitrary age of 59 and a half or 60 or 65 or whatever age so that I can start doing what I like, knowing that this is something that can make a living? So at that point in 2015, I created something that initially I called the large scale creativity. And you may have seen me wear a shirt that has this logo on it. And since then, I changed the name to something more descriptive, the Innovation Culture Institute. You know what? I work so much harder than I did when I was working as an executive. I was a vice president of corporate strategy. I work 16 to 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. But it does not feel like work.
You're passionate about it. You combined your passions, and that's so smart. And you're enjoying it, and you're passionate about it, and you're never going to quit.
That's right.
And that's what makes all the difference. Very, very quickly, because I want to go into what you've done in your books, but how has your thinking about innovation evolved over the years?
Well, I think that the easiest way to describe it is going from innovation all the way to trust. It's going more from the professional, technical aspects of innovation. The companies today think that in order to be successful, what you need to do is you need to deploy blockchain, bitcoins, and those the latest buzzwords, fintech, and all.
Right.
And we focus on the technologies themselves. Other companies focus on the processes, so design thinking or trees, or we're going to have hackathons because hackathons are the latest and greatest. We must have hackathons, otherwise we don't create ideas. And to me, the shift was going from the technical side of innovation, the processes, the technologies, going to the understanding of how people are creative. And one of the defining moments for me was after I just invented this product for the last company I was working for. One of the board members followed me to my office and he said, this was amazing. This thing happens once in a lifetime. And I'm thinking, no, this happened more than once in a lifetime for me. And I asked him, why do you think that? He said, because great ideas are accidental. And I thought about it, think about Newton with an apple falling off a tree.
Right.
And so it is accidental. Ideas happen in an accidental way. So why am I getting more than my fair share of ideas? And what I realized is that, yes, great ideas are accidental, but you can put yourself in a situation where the probability of that kind of accident is higher. So that's why my research and all the research since then is, how do you create an environment where people are more creative, and as a result, the company is more innovative?
I love that. I love that. You're never going to slow down, and you're going to put yourself in the environments where you're always going to be creative, always coming up with ideas, and that keeps you rocking. I love that.
Or you can put yourself in an environment where it doesn't happen.
Okay, we're kind of down to almost the last 3 minutes. This show has gone so fast. You've been so informative and exciting to talk to. I want to get around to your books real quickly.
Okay.
So you've published 8 books, most of them in the area of innovation and technology. Go ahead and bring them on over. So, and show them to our camera. 2 are completely different. Can you say something about them? Okay, yeah, I know. And talk to me about your books. Sorry, you have to do it fast, but let's talk about this, especially the first one.
So this is the 7th one. The 7th one is Culture Starts With You, Not Your Boss. This is the only one that's available both, all 3 ways, as a hard copy, as a Kindle book, and as an audio book as well. Bowling with a Crystal Ball was the first one. This includes the story of USB 3. The 2 that you're referring to is one of them. I'm not even going to go into this one. Cause of Death, Political Correctness, because I think that political correctness is killing us. But the one that you're talking about, I think that is different, is Worst Diet Ever. So believe it or not, but in 2014, I wrote a book that talks about, if you want to lose weight, do you want to lose weight, Betty?
No.
Not on radio. You're not going to say it on radio.
No.
Okay. So if you wanted to lose weight, knowledge is not the issue. Motivation is. And what I did was I researched how do people get the motivation. I know it's kind of strange. How do they get the motivation to lose weight and live healthy? And the funny thing is that book came out in Japanese as well.
Yeah, I couldn't pronounce that, so that's good.
Yes.
I guess it says the same thing.
It says the same thing, yes.
That is fantastic. So, Yoram, tell our audience how they can contact you and your contact information.
Well, the easiest thing is just text the word trust to 21,000. Trust to 21000. That's one. Another is just look me up at www.innovationcultureinstitute.com. And the third one is just call our number, 972-332-1490.
Ooh, say that one more time with that voice.
It is 972-332-1490.
Ooh, that's great. All right. We're down to the short strokes here. So if you have last words to say to our audience today, what would your last words be?
Forget about innovation. Forget about innovation culture. It all starts with trust. The biggest problem you have in your organization, and I don't even know your organization, is you don't have enough trust. I have the formula to how we build trust.
Wonderful.
It all starts with trust.
I so agree. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, if you want to know more about trust, contact Yoram. Power up with NSA to be better, to be faster and stronger. See you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Power Up with NSA North Texas. To find out more about today's guest or NSA North Texas, visit www.speaker.org. To find out more about Power Up, visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/groups/NSA North Texas. And to find out more about Betty, visit www.bettycoffeepresents.com.